The year was 1972. Japan, still rebuilding from the ashes of war, pulsed with a youthful energy. Yet beneath the surface of economic prosperity, a current of discontent simmered. Among the disillusioned youth were a group of university students. Tired of the West's influence on their culture and yearning for a return to their nation's warrior spirit, they found solace in the radical ideologies of Che Guevara and Mao Zedong. Their leader, a fiery 16-year-old prodigy named Takamura Tamiya, possessed a sharp intellect and an even sharper tongue. He spoke of revolution, of overthrowing the bourgeois, of a Japan free from foreign influence. By his side stood Hiroto, a guitar virtuoso whose music echoed the angst of their generation. Fueled by youthful idealism and fueled by late-night discussions, they hatched a daring plan to hijack a plane and fly to Cuba. Their goal to receive military training from Fidel Castro himself and ignite the flames of revolution back home. They called themselves the Samurai 7, a name whispered in hushed tones in the shadowy corners of student rallies. The morning of the hijacking dawned crisp and clear. A sense of nervous anticipation hung in the air as the Samurai 7, disguised as ordinary passengers, prepared to board Japan Airlines Flight 342, bound for Sapporo. Takamura, his face betraying no emotion, clutched a worn copy of the Motorcycle Diaries. Hiroto, his guitar case concealing a disassembled shotgun, adjusted his sunglasses and flashed a confident smirk. Their hearts pounded with each step towards the gate. The future of Japan, they believed, rested on their shoulders. As they passed through security, surprisingly lax by today's standards, a wave of relief washed over them. Their plan, audacious as it was, seemed to be falling into place. The roar of the engines filled the cabin as Flight 342 took off into the azure sky. Passengers settled into their seats, unaware of the drama about to unfold. Stewardesses began their meal service, their smiles a stark contrast to the tension brewing in row 12. 30 minutes into the flight, Takamura made his move. He stood abruptly, his youthful face hardened with resolve. He unsheathed a gleaming katana, its polished surface reflecting the overhead lights. "This plane is now under the control of the Samurai 7, he declared, his voice amplified by the stunned silence that followed. Pandemonium erupted. Screams filled the cabin as passengers cowered in fear. Hiroto, his fingers dancing across the strings of his guitar, strummed a discordant melody, a chilling counterpoint to the chaos. The stewardesses, pale and trembling, were instructed to relay their demands to the cockpit. Their message was clear: divert the plane to Havana, Cuba. They had enough fuel to reach mainland China. Refueling there would allow them to reach Cuba and their communist idols. The fate of Flight 342 and the lives of all those on board hung precariously in the balance. Section 5. Whispers of Deception. News of the hijacking spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves through Japan and beyond. The eyes of the world turned to the unfolding drama. The Japanese government, caught off guard, scrambled to respond. The Minister of Transport, a seasoned diplomat, opened a channel of communication with Takamura. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in the hallowed halls of Langley, Virginia, the CIA watched with growing concern. Among the passengers were several American citizens. Intervention was deemed necessary. A plan was hatched, a daring gambit that relied on deception and misdirection. Section 6. Flight over the Hermit Kingdom. After tense negotiations, Takamura agreed to release half of the passengers in exchange for a refuel and safe passage to North Korea, which he believed to be more sympathetic to their cause. The plane landed in Pyongyang, or so they thought. The CIA, working in tandem with Japanese authorities, had provided a doctored map, subtly altering the location of North Korea. As the plane touched down, escorted by fighter jets bearing North Korean insignia, actually South Korean jets disguised for the operation, a collective sigh of relief swept through the hijackers. They had reached their destination, or so they believed. Their moment of triumph, however, would be short-lived. Section 7. The walls close in. The plane taxied to a halt on the tarmac. The silence was deafening. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Takamura, sensing something was amiss, ordered the curtains to be opened. His blood ran cold. Instead of the austere concrete of a North Korean airbase, he saw the bustling activity of a modern airport adorned with signs written in an unfamiliar language. They had been deceived. Before Takamura could react, heavily armed soldiers stormed the plane, their faces grim, their weapons trained on the hijackers. Hiroto's guitar, its strings still vibrating from his last defiant chord, clattered to the floor. The dream of revolution lay shattered, along with the illusion of their carefully crafted plan. Section 8. Reflections in a Broken Mirror. The arrest of the Samurai 7 was swift and decisive. The passengers and crew, shaken but unharmed, were released, their ordeal finally over. The world watched in astonishment as the news unfolded. Takamura, his youthful face etched with a mix of anger and disbelief, remained defiant to the end. Hiroto, his guitar silent for the first time in years, seemed lost in thought, his dreams of a revolution fading into the cold reality of a South Korean prison cell. Their story became a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the intoxicating allure of ideology and the devastating consequences of misplaced idealism. Section 9. Echoes of a Distant Dream. The hijacking of Flight 342 faded into history. A footnote in the annals of Cold War intrigue, yet the questions it raised lingered. What drove those young men to such extremes? Was it youthful naivete, a thirst for adventure, or a genuine belief in their cause? Whatever the answer, their story served as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the enduring power of belief, however misguided, to shape the course of human events. The echoes of their distant dream, like the haunting melody of a forgotten song, continue to resonate through the corridors of history.